esto.
As you have been advised, you have the right to have a lawyer.
Y como ya le han explicado, usted tiene derecho a tener abogado.
With that, you may leave the room.
Y con esto ya se puede retirar.
All right, now we're sure the second person does not need an interpreter because Ms. Vascone needs to leave.
I was
right.
able to speak with them without an interpreter.
All right, excellent. You are free to go then. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you for your understanding, Commissioner, about the audio only. Appreciate it.
I understand more than you know.
Thanks so much.
Things are just weird lately. Ms. Bannister, since the DA is herself handling the next case, we'll wait and do yours after that with Attorney Barros. All right, we now have the second person over at the jail. So this is Matthew Tapia Sanchez. Again, the charge is delivery of methamphetamine, an amount over 50 grams. The judge has found probable cause on his case as well. And I note that the charge may end up being conspiracy to deliver, according to the rosters. And that is what's on the probable cause statements as well. Attorney Harrison.
Mr. Tapia Sanchez's address is Ave, Unit California, zip code. His date of birth, 6/4/88. His telephone number, Mr. Sanchez does have family in the state of California. He is employed in his community through Ryan Express. I would note that Mr. Tapia Sanchez does have a number of health issues he's dealing with that do require him to attend semi-regular appointments. Thank you.
Attorney Barros. I'm sorry, I keep doing because he's sitting right here. Attorney LaBrie.
Thank you, Commissioner. The state is asking for $500,000 cash bail. I'm asking for no contact with the co-actor, Mr. Ochoa, and no possession of controlled substances. This is a conspiracy that involves 16 pounds of methamphetamine coming to the Manitowoc area. The first delivery was 6 pounds, the second was 5, and then there was supposed to be a third delivery of 5 pounds. This defendant came up with the co-actor to obtain the money from these transactions. This individual was the individual who would facilitate the deliveries. He was in charge of these packages coming here, would have the tracking numbers, that type of information. He is from the state of California. He is only in Wisconsin for this drug transaction. The state feels that a significant cash bond is warranted due to his lack of contact with the community and the severity of the offense. And I would ask the $500,000 cash to be imposed along with the no contact and the no controlled substances. Thank you.
Attorney Harrison.
Thank you, Your Honor. We would ask the court to take into consider Mr. Tapia Sanchez's ability to pay. He indicates that he would be able to post some funds, but it would be in the single thousands of dollars range. We would again ask the court to take into consideration his means at this time. In regard to seriousness of the alleged offense and protection of the community, we would once again note that this was an alleged conspiracy initiated by law enforcement, that these two individuals do not have ties to our community besides being brought in by law enforcement. Once again, I do think that that is a mitigating factor. Mr. Sanchez does have significant ties to his community. He has employment there, as well as family support. He does not have those things in our community, which does make it more difficult for him to access those types of resources and obtain those types of funds. So with that in mind, we would ask the court to consider reduced cash, perhaps something in the range of roughly $10,000. Thank you.
Again, this is a significant volume of product, multiple occasions. The judge has already found probable cause, and I will go along with the request for $500,000 cash bail, no contact with Gerardo Ochoa, and no possession of any controlled substances. The initial appearance will be next Monday, November 3rd, 1:30 in Branch 3. Failure to appear, a warrant will be issued. You do have the right to be represented by a lawyer, and you may leave the room. All right, we'll move on to Sandy Bannister. Ms. Bannister. It's actually a junior, according to the note I have. It is a warrant from 25 CT 260. There was a recognizance bond previously set. This is an operating without valid license matter. Attorney Harrison, go ahead.
I believe this individual will be representing themselves.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. I see. Okay. Mr. Bannister, what is your address?
So currently at the moment, because of the situation with my family and we were going through housing issues, my wife took a job at H&R Block doing taxes, so we had to move out of the Manitowoc area.
What is your address? Do you have an address?
Yes, it is. It's in Minnesota. I have a Minnesota address now.
It doesn't matter. I need your address, sir. Just please
Okay.
give it
Yes,
to me.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 1 second. Just moved in here, so I don't know it off the back of my head. Yes, it is.
Thank you. Southeast. Is Southeast part of the city name, or is Southeast
This is part
refers
of the address.
the street address?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
What is your telephone number? And your date of birth?
December 18th, 1996.
And is there a reason you missed your court appearance?
Yes, ma'am. I was out working late last night. I got a job here, and I just lost track of time. I was up late with the kids and getting off of work. My kids weren't asleep, so I missed court completely on my own. I overslept.
Okay, well, the miss you're here for wouldn't have been this morning.
Yes, I know.
Okay. Attorney Barrows.
Commissioner, the state will not oppose for the same bond conditions to remain the same. Just note, Commissioner, was already the second time the defendant failed to appear. Please, sir, appear to court because next time you need to turn yourself in. For all the information, Judge, the state will not object to the bonding conditions to remain the same. Thank you.
In fact, I'm surprised that the warrant was not issued already with the requirement that you appear in person from the jail. So it is an exception that was made due to your out-of-state status. You need to be in court. If that's by Zoom, great, but then you have to make sure you make those arrangements ahead of time and that the judge that's presiding approves that. I see this is Judge Dietz, so I suspect there'd be an approval, but you have to make the request. And it has to be to that judge's office. I can't approve that today.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I will continue the bond of $150 recognizance bond with any conditions that are in place. And let me just check. I'm assuming there's no operation without a valid license as a condition as well. Automatically, it'd be bail jumping if you were to be caught again. Now, the new date is December 15th, 8:30. That will be, as noted, branch 2. Failure to appear, a warrant will be issued, and you do have the right to be represented by a lawyer.
Yes, ma'am. Am I able to ask a question?
Yes, go ahead. I am having a little trouble finding things, so go ahead.
Is there any way I would be able to just pay off the fines for this
No.
and have it dealt with? I tried to plead guilty to originally when the charges were brought against me. I just wanted to pay the fines just at the time. I didn't want to continue to go through court because of what's going on with my family and our living situation. I did not know if I was going to be in Wisconsin. So that's why I wanted to know if something like that was able to be done.
There's a process. Now, I believe you would have received some information this morning had you been here, and I do see it actually was today. I don't know when we started having people appear the same day. This is quite a problem as far as I'm concerned. But meanwhile, like I said, the new date is going to be in December, and I can't just take a plea and enter the forfeiture, assuming that's what it is. This is a criminal traffic charge, sir. That's why we can't just do it that way. All right, you muted yourself, so.
Yes, ma'am. I'm still listening to you.
Okay, all right, so I'm sorry, but that's as far as we can get. That's, the date and time will be sent to you. And with that, I guess we'll send you the phone number for the judge's office to make sure you have that information.
Would that be, that's going to all be in mail, right?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to check and make sure.
okay. As long as you gave us a good address, that'll be how you'll receive it. Thank you.
Oh, need the apartment. It's apartment 4.
Apartment 4, yes, that's very important. Thank
Sorry, I
you.
almost forgot. Yeah.
All right, you can hang up now.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Okay, we'll go back to the jail. And this is Michael Whiting. Mr. Whiting is referred for new charges. I do have a probable cause statement. We have battery noted as a domestic violence offense, miscellaneous damage, criminal damage to property, and a kidnapping or abduction charge. Attorney Harrison. You're muted, sir.
My apologies. Mr. Whitting's address is in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. His date of birth, 5/29/01. His telephone number, Mr. Whitting does have ties to the community. He has family in Oconto and has lived in the state for his entire life. He is employed in the community. He works at Pizza Hut, where he is the general manager. And I would note he does qualify for public defender representation. Thank you.
Attorney Barrows.
Commissioner, the state is requesting $25,000 cash bail, Commissioner, with conditions of no contact with the victim and no possession of dangerous weapon. Commissioner, looking into the defendant's prior records, he had 2 felony cases, 18 CF 154. On that case, he was convicted on January 2nd, 2019 for a take and drive vehicle without owner's consent, Commissioner. On that case, he also had a other count at the same, and count 3 will be a burglary as dwelling, which was dismissed and read in. The state mentioned that because it's very serious charges. Also, 18 CF 170. Again, he was convicted with a bail jumping and theft movable property. On that case, he had a dismissed read in burglary charges, Commissioner. On the first case, 18 CF 154, he initially had a signature bond, Commissioner. However, because the defendant picked up a new case, Commissioner, on December 3rd, 2018, his bond was amended to $3,000 cash. He did not fail to appear on that case. On the case that he picked up, he got $5,000 cash. I mention that because the state believes that he appeared to all court hearings because he had high cash bail. Also, Commissioner, the state asked for the court to have in consideration the dangers to the community, especially this type of charges now the court can have in consideration, Commissioner. Allegedly, last Friday, on October 24th, Commissioner, a complaint is stating that a female was taken by an individual. The caller didn't know how to describe as properly the vehicle. However, with help of Green Bay Police Department, they identified the vehicle, and finally they identified the defendant who was driving at that time. Law enforcement talked with the victim and saw a surveillance cameras and observed that the defendant, while driving 15 miles per hour, struck allegedly the victim's vehicle. She came out of the vehicle. The defendant tried to grab her. She somehow bit the defendant. He released her, and he allegedly grabbed her hair, Commissioner, dragging her inside of the vehicle. It's very important to say, Commissioner, all the time a baby was inside of the vehicle. While inside of the vehicle, he started punching her. And as you can see, Commissioner, law enforcement found injuries in the victim's body. Very concerning too, that upon talking with her, she stated that has been almost 10 months, that the defendant, 10 months. She stated that
It's been almost 10 months.
that the defendant was beating her up many times while she was holding the baby, protecting the baby, Commissioner. And a very concern is that sometimes he was threatening her with a knife, saying that he would kill her. That's why it's very concerned, the high cash commissioner, because everything happened. Again, he took her, and finally law enforcement found them at the place of his employment. The defendant got high cash in other two cases, Commissioner. And the state was wondering how and what amount of cash we can request. Those cases were property crimes. Here we have a much serious case with threatened with a knife, and finally he followed up with a kidnapping allegations and charges. That's why the high cash bail is appropriate with the no contact with the victim. Thank you.
Attorney Harrison.
Thank you, Your Honor. I guess I would begin by addressing the state's point on cash bail. State makes the case that $3,000 was sufficient. So I don't know where we need 25,000 from. But nonetheless, we do think that a signature bond would be sufficient here. Mr. Whitting does have significant ties to the community. As the state outlines, he's never had this type of charge in the past. He has not had any violent charges in the past. His only somewhat dated record goes back to property crimes. So I do think that this is an isolated incident. Without going too deep into the weeds, I believe this incident was also motivated by some mental health issues that Mr. Whitting is aware of and want to get treatment for. It is Mr. Whitting's intention that if he were released from custody, he would go straight to anger management. Outside of or in the community, he would have access to mental health medication, which I do think would be very important for his well-being. I do have information, although not officially substantiated, that the victim would not be staying at that address. So there would be two separate residences. They would not be together. Mr. Whitting has no objections to the no contact. He does understand that that is necessary and appropriate at this time. Mr. Whitting has no history of failing to abide by no contacts. We do understand he did pick up one or two bail jumpings for new cases, but I think those are very different types of bail violations than breaking no contacts. So with all those factors in mind, again, as well as the fact that Mr. Whitting almost single-handedly runs the Pizza Hut here in our community, we ask the court to consider either a signature bond or greatly reduced cash. Perhaps something in the range of under $1,000. Thank you.
Just want to make sure, is there a victim present in this matter? All right. There is not, so I'll proceed. I do want to just acknowledge that Attorney Harrison has a very difficult job in these cases, and I do admire some of the arguments he makes. But we've got a situation where there is video evidence of him taking this person against her will into his vehicle. And I would find it quite a stretch to say if you're dragging someone by their hair that it's not involuntary. So this is very serious. The evidence referenced in the probable cause statement shows that's not just a one-time event, that he is battering her. I think the $25,000, while beyond his means, is appropriate for a case like this. there'll be ample opportunity for adjustments to bail as more information is found. The no contact with the victim is imposed, that's ALK, no possession of any dangerous weapons. Violation of the condition would be grounds for additional charges. The initial appearance, again, moved up to November 3rd, 1:30, branch 3. Failure to appear, a warrant will be issued. You do have the right to be represented by a lawyer, and you may leave the room. All right, our next person is Carrie Simpson. Ms. Simpson is here on a warrant that was issued regarding 25 CM 401. There's been no appearance, bond has not been set. This involves a retail theft and criminal damage to property. Attorney Harrison.
Ms. Simpson's address is Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Her date of birth, 3/10/86. Ms. Simpson does not have a telephone number to provide to the court at this time, but may be able to do so at a later date. Ms. Simpson does have ties to the state. She has family in Racine and has lived in the state for her entire life. Thank you very much. Or I would note she does qualify for public defender representation. Thank you.
Attorney Barrows.
Commissioner, the defendant provided a new address to the court. Hopefully now she can receive notice with all the information. The state believes the signature bond is appropriate with the no contact with the victim. Thank you.
Okay, I'll impose the no contact with the victim retail establishment. Photos and prints will be needed at the Manitowoc City Police Department upon your release from custody. It's separate from what was done when you were booked in. I will set the bail conditions, the amount of the recognizance bond as $500. And then you'll be in court this week, Thursday. That is October 30th, 10:30 here in B15. Failure to appear, a warrant will be issued. You do have the right to be represented by a lawyer. And with that, you may leave the room. Ma'am, are you a victim? No. Oh, okay. All right, this is Giovanni Lewis. The referral is for misdemeanor bail jumping and disorderly conduct. There is a probable cause statement. Judge Dietz has reviewed that statement, finding probable cause. Attorney Harrison, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Lewis's address is in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. His date of birth, 12/5/97. His telephone number, Mr. Lewis does have ties to the community. He has family in Sheboygan and Manitowoc and has lived in Manitowoc for over 7 months now. I would note that he does qualify for public defender representation. Thank you.
Attorney Barros.
Commissioner, the state believes $500 cash is appropriate, conditions of absolute sobriety, and the no contact with the location listed on the probable cause, Commissioner. This was a call, Commissioner, where witnesses described and law enforcement observed that the defendant was agitated and allegedly during 30 minutes, he was yelling, causing disturbance, and also throwing stones on the sidewalk and the parking lot of that location, Commissioner. Looking into the defendant's open cases, he has the 25 CT 18, where he failed to appear on July 14 for a initial appearance, 25 CT 205 on June 2nd of this year. Again, he failed to appear for a initial appearance. On 25 CT 269, he did not sign his signature bond, Commissioner. I believe was set on July 7 of this year. On that case, he's charged with ignition interlock device temper or failure to install, Commissioner, is the same as in 25 CT 314. The state's 314. The state mentions that because, as you can see, the PBT that was listed in a probable cause, Commissioner, that he might have a problem with alcohol. Also, 25 CM 344, he failed to appear on October 2nd for initial appearance, Commissioner. And his prior close case, the state found very interesting that on the case over Sheboygan County, 23 CM 43, he was convicted with disorderly conduct, bail jumping, Commissioner, and his probation was revoked on September 20th, 2023, and more recent on the case 22 CM 630 over Sheboygan, Commissioner. He was revoked and just sentenced for his sentencing after revocation on September 10th of this year. With all the information, a $500 cash is appropriate, condition of absolute sobriety, and then no contact with the location. Thank you, Commissioner.
Attorney Harrison.
Thank you, Your Honor. We ask the court take into consideration Mr. Lewis's ability to pay. He currently does not have any funds at his disposal. He does reside at the Haven at the moment. In regard to the allegations, they do seem to end at disorderly conduct. There is no criminal damage to property charged here. There was no, I guess, violent behavior. I understand there may have been some damage. I don't see that it was charged ultimately, but we ask the court take into consideration those factors, that there was not any physical harm done to anyone as a result of this. So we asked the court to consider a signature bond or reduced cash, perhaps something in the range of 100 or fewer dollars. Thank you.
Okay, so as far as the damage to property, if I'm reading the probable cause statement right, as of the point it was filed, they had not yet made contact with the vehicle owner. So I guess we'll say there could be more charges, but I don't know. I'm concerned about giving an address of the Haven when he was just somewhere else on, I'm thinking it was Friday night, if I'm following this correctly. And that isn't quite how the Haven usually works. But I'll take his word for it. What we do have is a series of cases where he's not really able to comply with all the conditions. The absolute sobriety is probably, I hesitate to say anything these days, but I think it's probably the most commonly violated bail condition, other than maybe the non-appearance or the no further crimes, but it's pretty right up there. And it's probably because most of the people that it is given to already have an alcohol problem. If you have a 0.26, you probably do have a higher tolerance, although I'll note he was laying on the rocks when first contacted, so I'm not sure how high that tolerance actually is. But it's enough to give me concern here. He had a no further crimes. There wasn't an absolute sobriety in the case causing this bail jumping. So I'm going to add it here, and I think it makes sense. No contact with the hotel mentioned. And then we come to the monetary amount, which, while cash is appropriate, what does someone who is without housing, what are they able to afford? What are they realistically able to post? I'm going to set $200. Noting as just a side that the jail isn't to be used as a shelter, so we don't want people committing crimes and ending up there on cash bail for that reason either. The next court date with cash set. These are misdemeanors. It should be this week, Thursday then. So that'll be October 30th, 10:30 here in B15. If you are released from custody, Mr. Lewis, you need to go to the Manitowoc City Police Department for photos and prints. That's in addition to what was done at booking. Violation of those bond conditions would result in additional charges. And with that, you may leave the room. All right, our next person's present. This is Michael Hyde. He has a recognizance bond. This is all regarding 25 CF3. A warrant was issued when he missed court. It was set for a plea date. This is a child neglect file. Attorney Harrison, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hyde's address is Manitowoc, Wisconsin. His date of birth, 7/12/95. His telephone number, Mr. Hyde does have ties to the state. He has family in Kenosha and has lived in the state for his entire life. I would note that I do personally represent Mr. Hyde in regard to the missed court date that brings him before the court. There was some confusion regarding the difference between a scheduling date and a plea date. I had previously informed Mr. Hyde he did not need to appear for scheduling dates. There was some confusion there. Ultimately, though, this case is set to be resolved at its next plea date. Thank you very much.
Well, that's good to know, and I guess I can understand how people get confused. After all, I hesitate to tell them whether they should come or not without checking with their lawyer. Attorney Barros, it looks like the miss was a few weeks ago, though. That was on October 8th. What is the request?
I understand, Commissioner. Looking defendant's prior records to appear in court on the case 17 CM 562 over Kenosha County, he failed to appear on June 1st, 2017 for an initial appearance. On the case 21 CM 544 Sheboygan County, he failed to appear to initial appearance on October 18, 2021. Now we have this Manitowoc case, open case, Commissioner. October 8th, he provided the same address that we have in the system. I understand that he is a lawyer. Even though there was a scheduling conference, he should have contacted his lawyer to check it out, the status, the date, or supposedly, I'm so sorry, Commissioner. The state believes that some cash is appropriate, living up to the court for the defendant to have in consideration and follow up with his counsel, and finally to get the case done. Thank you.
All right, there was no prior miss in this case. Had he realized and contacted Attorney Harrison, he would have been told he could have a voluntary appearance. He's now spent a little time in jail as a reminder about these things. I'm going to continue the bond as a result. The new date, it's actually coming up very quickly, so hopefully you don't forget it. It is November 6th. So that's just over a week. 1:30, and that is in branch 1. Failure to appear, a warrant will be issued. You do have the right to be represented by a lawyer. And with that, then you may leave the room.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, what was the time on that?
What was the time on that? Oh, I should look. 1:30 it was. Yep. They're all about to tell. Okay.
Thank you.
Thursday, I might even be done with bail by then. All right, this individual is Terry Corzine. Mr. Corzine is here on an OWI 6th referral. This becomes very serious as he will be facing time. And we also have possession of THC and possession of drug paraphernalia as additional charges. They are misdemeanor charges, but the OWI 6th is the serious charge in this group. Judge Dietz did find probable cause. Attorney Harrison, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Corzin's address is in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. His date of birth, 11/4/87. His telephone number, Mr. Corzine has ties to the community. He's lived in the area for over 8 years and is employed at the Wisconsin Aluminum Foundry, where he is a second shift manager. Thank you very much.
All right, Attorney Barros.
Commissioner, it is very concerning about this case. The state is requesting some cash living up to the court condition of an absolute sobriety, no operation of a motor vehicle. Looking into the defendant's prior records, on September 1st, 2020, he pled to a WI 3rd and 4th, Commissioner. He picked up the WI 5th, was convicted on July 30th, 2021. On that case, his supervision was terminated on July 30th, 2024. And again, he allegedly was driving. Law enforcement observed he was going over the middle lane. A traffic stop were performed, Commissioner, and the officers observed the smell, indication of intoxication, Commissioner. A field sobriety test were performed, and there were multiple clues, but again, he was arrested for OWI 6. We can give to him that he was cooperative. He admitted having drinks. He was cooperative law enforcement at that time. However, Commissioner, with the nature of the charges and his record, the state believes that some cash is appropriate this time and asks for the court to adopt. Thank you.
All right, I'm just reviewing the probable cause statement for some of the details regarding the incident. Attorney Harrison, go ahead, please, if regarding the cash request.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Corzine would have some difficulty posting any high cash at this time. He indicates he would be able to post some amount of cash. I think something in the range of $500 or fewer dollars would be doable for him. We do understand the nature of the allegations regarding protection of the public. I do think that Mr. Corzine has shown that he is interested and willing to abide by no driving conditions. So I think that does mitigate potential danger to the public. So for those reasons, we'd ask the court to consider, again, reduced cash, something in the range of $500 or fewer dollars.
So very difficult. I know how long these take to get through the system, how long it takes to get the information back from the lab. And while this is a very strong probable cause statement, and there will be punishment if there's a conviction, there's other things that can happen. he was successful on supervision and had just over a year before we ended up with this. Given that there's a strong likelihood he has some underlying alcoholic problem, I commend him for that, but this was a really bad decision by the looks of it. You certainly knew that you were over the 0.02. It doesn't take much to get over that limit. Imposing the conditions requested is the easy part, so I will do that. So you now have the strict no operation of the motor vehicle and the absolute sobriety. That should then be, I think the $500 is a reasonable amount, given the circumstances. I realize there are many people that would think a higher number is appropriate. You're going to need funds. So your initial appearance, I did set cash, so I have to move it right up to the current dates. Yeah, policy is Monday. So November 3rd, 9:30, and that's branch 3. Failure to appear, a warrant will be issued. You do have the right to be represented by a lawyer. And you may leave the room. This is Dale Hepner. Hope I pronounced that correctly. This is an OWI 4th. Again, we have a probable cause statement signed by Judge Dietz, and I will take a look at some of the circumstances while we hear the other information. Attorney Harrison, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hopner's address is in Whitelaw, Wisconsin, zip code 54247. His date of birth, 11/13/69. His telephone number, Mr. Hopner does have ties to the community. He has family in the area and has lived in the area for his entire life. He does have a history of past made court appearances. Thank you very much.
Attorney Barros?
Commissioner, we leave again up to the court. However, the conditions are very important since is allegation involving OWI 4th, Commissioner. Just for the court, they should ask for the court to have in consideration the probable cause and the defendant's OWI prior cases were the first 1992, the second 2000, and the third was 2005, Commissioner. With all the information, the state asked for the court to adopt. Thank you.
There are a number of differences between the two cases. This is a fourth. The earlier one was a sixth. It's been a longer time since the defendant has been convicted. And I'm sorry, I'm taking Attorney Harrison's thunder from him. Go ahead, sir.
Your Honor, we ask the court to take into consideration Mr. Hobner's ability to pay. And again, the fact that his offenses are somewhat dated, we do feel that the no driving condition would be sufficient protection to the public. Thank you.
All right. OWI 4th is the first time that the case is treated as a felony, and I think that is an eye-opening experience for people. His specific allegations are at an earlier time of day, but a rural area, yet it's a fairly well-traveled road. One has difficulty deciding on those kinds of things. What's less danger to the public? I think primarily I'm going to look at the time between the convictions, set a $3,000 personal recognizance bond, and have your initial appearance on December 8th. That's at 9:30 in branch 1. Failure to appear, warrant would be issued. You do have the right to be represented by a lawyer. Absolute sobriety, no alcohol, no drugs anywhere, anytime. No operation of a motor vehicle. I'm going to stick with that. Once you have a lawyer, you can always try to get conditions changed. I'll just mention that. Failure to appear, again, a warrant, and with that, you may leave the room.
Commissioner, the amount, I'm sorry about that.
Didn't I say an amount? Well, 3,000. Okay,
I'm sorry.
yeah, that's all right. Well, you don't have to pay anything. It's a signature bond. And you pick them up at the jail in about an hour, because we've got to finish here and then they've got to process and all of that yet. Fair enough. Sarah says yes, about an hour. Okay. Okay, we have Richard Ferry. This is another new set of charges. I have the probable cause statement, but this one has not been previously reviewed. This is a domestic violence incident. We have the battery and disorderly conduct, as well as a strangulation allegation. Attorney Harrison, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Ferry's address is in Two Rivers, Wisconsin. His date of birth, 2/25/78. His telephone number, Mr. Ferry does have ties to the community. He's lived in the state for his entire life. He does have family in Calumet and is employed in the community through the Sikh temp service. Thank you.
Attorney Barrows.
Commissioner, the state is asking for the court $1,500 cash bail and then no contact with the victim. As you can see, on October 26th, alleged law enforcement was dispatched from
Yes.
that the defendant pulled a knife on the victim. It's very important that upon arrival, they found the victim visibly upset, had injuries on both sides of her neck or marks on both sides of her neck and bloody right knuckle. Commissioner, talking with the victim, she stated that on a verbal altercation ended up into a physical altercation where the defendant dragged her from the couch onto the floor. And finally, allegedly put his hand around her neck, causing the injuries, and allegedly held a knife against her throat, Commissioner. This is very serious because the injuries that law enforcement saw on the victim's body and the defendant's prior record goes back to 2007, where he was convicted with the disorderly conduct domestic abuse, Commissioner. 2012, on the case 11 CF 90, Calumet County, he was second degree sexual assault while intoxicated, disorderly conduct, strike domestic abuse. I'm sorry. And finally, 2017, on September 18, 2017, 2 counts of disorderly conduct as a repeated domestic abuse and felony bail jumping. As important, that was a different victims, Commissioner. With the history of domestic violence and new allegation strangulations, Commissioner, the state believes that some cash is appropriate. Thank you.
Attorney Harrison.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Ferry would have some difficulty posting cash at this time. We would ask the court take into consideration his ability to pay. I think what is most important to note is the address of the alleged victim here is out in Brenhamwood, Wisconsin. I did have to do a quick search.
Oh, I'm familiar with Burnwood, so
it's
save
about
you that.
It's about a 2-hour drive from here, so there is some distance that does, I think, create a necessary barrier between the two parties. So we ask the court take that into consideration. With all those things in mind, we'd ask the court to consider a recommendation of reduced cash, perhaps something in the range of again, single hundreds of dollars. Thank you.
From the probable cause statement, I recognized that they were not currently living together. I did not catch that the victim was that far away. And I do think that does make some difference. However, the prior convictions, even though they are old, does reveal a disturbing pattern of behavior. So again, difficult. I am going to impose the no contact with the alleged victim, RMF. In any premises where she may be. And then due to the allegations of the knife and the strangulation, I am going to set some cash. I will make it in the amount of $500, and the initial appearance moves up to next Monday, November 3rd, 1:30 in branch 4. Failure to appear and warrant will be issued. You do have the right to be represented by a lawyer. Failure to comply with the conditions results in additional charges. And with that, you may leave the room.
All right, is branch 3 or branch 4, Commissioner?
That one, 3. because it was moved up, so it's 3. This is Nicholas Dent. Oh, for Mr. Ferry, we should note that I also found probable cause. I missed that in the middle of setting all that. Okay, Mr. Ferry, I'm sorry, Mr. Denk. Mr. Denk has misdemeanor charges only. So we have a misdemeanor bail jumping and the disorderly conduct, and that probable cause has not been reviewed yet either by a judge. Attorney Harrison, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Dank's address is in Two Rivers, Wisconsin. His date of birth, 3/23/81. His telephone number, Mr. Dank does have ties to the community. He has family in Denmark and has lived in the state for his entire life. He is employed in the community through FormRight and I believe does intend to retain attorney it's Dennis Malowski on the file that we are discussing currently. Thank you.
Attorney Barros.
Commissioner, the state believes some cash is appropriate, leaving up to the court, and then no contact with the victim. Especially, Commissioner, because the defendant is charged with OWI third on the case 20 CT 458. Conditions of bond would be maintain absolute sobriety. Now you have a new probable cause that allegedly happened on October 26, where his PBT was 0.10, which is concerned that he shows that when he drinks, he commits some crime violations, especially when allegedly he was having a disturbance and being abusive, pushing the victim around in the residence where they live together, they reside together, Commissioner. With all the information, the no contact, absolute sobriety again, and some cash living up to the court. Thank you.
Attorney Harrison, anything?
Not this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. And I know it's a little awkward under the circumstances. I'm going to, no, I'm sorry, Attorney Barros, you did ask for no contact, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I will impose that with AJO and any premises she occupies. I can't tell who the premises belongs to, and it does appear the two people have the same address. So I'll make a one-time contact with the residents for purposes of obtaining personal property, but that has to be with the assistance of law enforcement and after the expiration of the 72-hour no contact provision. I'll impose the absolute sobriety, no use of alcohol or drugs anywhere, anytime. I'm going to set $100 cash bond and make it October 30th this week for the initial appearance, 10:30 here in B15. Actually, let me check one thing. Mr. Dank, we do have a policy of setting them fast, but are you gonna post cash? You're gonna be able to post the $100?
Have a card, like a debit card. I don't have any cash on me. I have a debit card or a credit card.
Yeah, they do accept cards for posting, so that would be your intent. Since you said you were gonna get a private lawyer, what I'd like to do is put this off, but I don't want you sitting in jail if I'm putting it off. That's why I was asking. Make
Oh.
sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I will back up everybody and leave it on the original date, the November 20th at 10:30 here in B15. Okay, that should give you time to get the lawyer lined up. Failure to comply with conditions, a warrant, additional charges could be issued. Failure to appear, a warrant is issued, and with that, sir, you may leave the room. Okay. I'll stop the stream.